Classic. Audio. The GX12? Dang.
Right, you guys hear me well? Good.
Soft.
Today I'm going to talk about the same old thing. So that I make sure you guys, after you listen, you forget it. And you will not listen again. So I'm going to keep talking about this 1,000 times because sometimes I listen to some of you talk, I'm scary because it seems like the more I talk about people, interpret a different way. The more people think a different way. The system is so simple and the people is so complicated. No wonder it's hard to find somebody who can duplicate anybody. You see a lot of people who have number or do whatever, they can't duplicate because they create so many versions of things that only in the eye. Let's say you wear a pink color, you're going to see light in pink. The other guy wear a glass. Oh, by the way, just changed glass this morning. A green glass, you see green. The guy who have green glass, but I see gray. The guy who's so that's why this business is so confusing, and the interpretation of what I thought is always that is deviation. That's why you can look at a lot of guys. For a long time, we cannot find the great duplicator, the great builder. And I do not surprise about it because you have to do something that you like, okay? And some of you like something about yourself too much, you're willing not to change. I just talked to Lyndon this morning. I just go to eat, and somebody who would never eat a certain food. Some people would never eat many kind of food, and they would not change. Which means that no matter what, I'm not going to eat it. So I got to tell you about food, and it's up to you not to eat it. Or I got to cook some spaghetti, and you can put some soy sauce into it. Your choice. I'm surprised. This is 30 years talking about a fast start. And majority of people still don't do fast start. And without fast start, how can you be able to do anything? No wonder you look to your back to organization. We keep saying this business is easy, but why you are not building it? Well, because you recruit the wrong people. These people are not bad enough. Because look in the mirror. The real problem is the guy in the mirror. You just not willing to change so that you become duplicatable, but you want people to duplicate to you. And then when that guy duplicate the way you do it, you don't like burger this way. You want to put burger with sriracha on that. And the other guy says, hey, put the burger sriracha, I put burger with some Dijon mustard on that. And everyone is going to have a different version. That's why it never be able to duplicate something universal like McDonald's. Yeah, I'm sure that some people are going to like burger with sriracha. I'm sure that some people are going to like burger with some mustard on it. Now, I just talk about this thing, and again, this is a fine line between catering to your own taste. On the other hand, there's another fine line that how far you're going to go to become unduplicatable. So when we talk about fast start, we talk about duplication. In this business, that's why a lifelong of not just learning but adjustment. Sometimes people make a mistake for a long, long time before they correct that mistake. And by the time they correct that mistake, they go a long, long time to correct the second mistake. So by the time it turned around 10 years pass by, you just correct a one or two mistake, and yet you still not duplicate people. The number one result of this business is how many people you build. And if you don't have enough people to build, wake up and begin to analyze why that I cannot build people. Is that what I do is buildable and duplicatable? You know, it's so funny. You know, every time you see people cut apple, depending on where you're born, and they would not ever change. You know, in Vietnam, they cut the apple this way.
Yeah.
In America, they cut the apple the other way.
Peel the apple.
Even a famous case in San Jose, there's some murder. There's somebody who, and the judge analyzed about it, and they determined the guy he's lying or he's telling the truth, and because he said I will cut the apple that way, and part of the clues of the things, and the judge wouldn't believe it until they checked it. They tell a couple of Vietnamese going out and try to peel the apple, they find that yes, all the Vietnamese they do that way. I begin to go off track. Why the hell do Vietnamese cut apple into this? Apple, please. Remember the word duplicatable and doable. They are the same thing. When people say, "Oh, I can do that," which means I can duplicate that. If whatever you do so good, yeah, somebody just recruit 45 people in 1 month. Is that duplicatable? No, it's just 1 month. If they do it every month 45, then I want to learn.
Hindi rasa mo. Meeting.
Duplication business.
What worked for you in some period will not work for you in the long run. What get you here doesn't got to get you there.
Mm-hmm.
Or what you would get you a certain period, like a few years ago, not necessarily going to be in the future. Things change. That's why we have to always adapt. But I always stand, the principle always stand. You've got to be in the building business. The building, you have to duplicate people. You have to always send a signal to people from the most talented person to the weakest person in the room. They say, if he can do it, I can do it. Therefore, you have to bring the level of simplicity. You have to make it so simple, so clear, so fast, especially so doable and duplicatable. Your message is always, if you want to build something big, it's got to be duplicatable and doable. If something too peculiar, don't do it. You know, one day I buy a portfolio folder. This one I touched 7 years ago. And people in the team said, wow, what a beautiful thing. When do you buy it? Oh, my wife bought it in Macy's. She saw it or something. And next thing I know, everybody in the office goes to Macy's looking for the portfolio.
Same with the iPad
Thinking that if I have one
and
like
the MacBook.
Xuan, I can close like it. Next thing I know, I throw that thing to the garbage. I go back to something I buy it at the Office Depot for like $2-3. To prove that, look, you don't have to have this one to close people, to make a sale, to recruit people. I'm very careful about what I do so that the lowest person to the highest person, everybody can do it. If anything I do is not doable and not duplicatable to the masses, it's not going to work. If you train something and only a handful of people like what you train, and the other one who look at that and say, oh, wow, it's so awesome, but I don't think I can do it, then your training is self-destruct. The business to me is daily the bubble chart. Only 4 things. Every day, if you have no bubble chart, no business. If you don't look at bubble chart, you have no business. If your team don't look at bubble chart, they have no business. If you and your team don't look at bubble chart, we don't have business. Anything else, yeah, you can do something, you can make some sale, you can recruit, but it's not duplicatable to me. It's not a system. The system is that someone sit down and look at bubble chart. You know, you're not, everything you do, you have to create a habit. You build a habit that is duplicatable. A duplicatable habit is a habit of being simple, and being very clear, and very fast, and very easy. we talk in Thailand. There's a bunch of Thailand get there by 315 every month. Some of them doing 6 months a year. But still, there is something hidden because there is sometimes some people who could not. With a large number of people they recruit, there's a large number of time they qualify in Thailand, but they're not building. There must be something missing. And these people probably, they do always do the way they can get the recruit, they can get the sale, they can get the number, but still the last thing and the important thing they need to get is to duplicate people. There are people who make 500,000, maybe 800,000. There are people who make $1 million. I don't care. I just want to see how many people you build. If I follow you and you make a lot of money, but I cannot build, I don't see you build anybody, what do you teach me? What do you teach me? I can look into your office and say, well, where's the last time you built a builder? Where's the last time? How many people in your team miss a big shot? How many people your team can do 350? Now you have some SMD. They call that SMD. You have SMD who don't even show up. You have some people SMD who look like they're struggling. They're about to hang themselves. You have SMD who look like a walking zombie. Show me what you're going to build. You show me that you build SMD who can build SMD. We are the building business. We look at 1,000 people who can build 1,000. There's no way you can build 1,000. You build 1,000 people. If you want to build 1,000, you have to build a 10, who build another 10, who build another 10. Unless you have a big, you have a clear vision that you want to build something big. Otherwise, you're going to struggle. Most of you look into what is the easiest way, the fastest way. Many people are always looking for a shortcut. The shortcut doesn't fit into a large picture. The large picture requires something called very simple and very clear and very fast and very doable. Shortcut only fit with individual. A handful of people. Some people say to me, but my market is different. You're just killing your own business by saying that. You don't know my team, they are different. They are all engineers. You just shut down 100 engineers right there. Oh, my market is this and that. All right, this is the way we do. The way we do it work for me. Show me. Can it work for everybody? That's why the 8 circle that I'm going to show you will not be followed. Why? I understand that. Small-minded people will never believe to it. Because they never have a big picture about them doing something big. They never think about duplication is important. Most of those people, you can see on the tangible side, they do not believe the tangible of the system. And the other one, they do not believe in the intangible of the system. You look at those guys who don't believe in the meaning mentality, those guys who are very off and on and off about the meaning, you know that the guys have no intention to run the system or believe the system or follow the system or be part of the system. They have their own idea. Well, welcome to business. That's part of the EMG structure. Everybody can have the right to mess up yourself. But when you mess up yourself, kill somebody around you too. That's part of the privilege. So, unless you have daily movement chart, you're not duplicatable. Nobody can build a business and duplicate anyone unless they have it to look to what they have. What a mystery to build a business. And, well, let me see what I'm going to do today. So then you maybe have, you're a genius, you have a, the bubble on your head, you have a look out, and you think everybody's genius like you. Well, so lucky that I'm not a genius. I'm a dumb guy. So every day I have to look above a chart. I look into it, I look into it, I look to it, and before I talk to the guy, I have to figure out what I'm going to talk to him. So I try to talk to Bubbo before I talk to the guy. I look above a chart, I build it the way that I think the housewife is. My level building always based on a social worker housewife level. Speak to me in a simple language. Don't tell me somebody who is not very high tech, somebody who very lowest common denominator. And if I can do it, if I can build that housewife, if I can build that social worker, then everything else is a bonus and easier. You look at my chart every day, and the next thing you know, the number one thing you have to do is look to the prospect circle. Can you bring up the prospect up? The A circle prospect. You cannot recruit people unless, and your field, you never get to 100 recruit at the base. You never get to 1,000 recruit at the base because you never have a culture of prospecting. If you don't learn how to drop by, stop by. Yeah, I heard some people that I can Zoom too, I can use technology, whatever, I can use TikTok. I see people recruit people through TikTok. I see people recruit people through whatever, social media. But the housewife cannot do it. But if you can drop by, stop by, there is 8 ways to prospecting. One is drop by, stop by. One is to send brochure and flyer. Or you can be able to give people some blue book or workbook, invite people to offer people to take a workbook. Or maybe you give people a survey card. Or maybe people invite someone, pick up the phone, or say someone to invite them to the workshop. Or maybe you ask people for a referral, or the client, or the people that you know. Or maybe you do meeting, an event, you invite people to your home, and you follow up. Maybe you drop by to give them a mango. There's so many things that you're going to do. There is many ways. So that is inclusive, not only 1 or 2 ways. And you have to train 100 people in your team. That many ways. As long as you keep follow up, and you do on this one, come on, please. Oh, As long you keep drop by, stop by, as long you keep giving people brochure, as long you're gonna talk about workbook and blue book, as long as you do survey card, as long you keep invite, you ask for referral, meeting, event. If you want it bad enough and you do it on a daily basis, every day in the bumper chart, the system will deliver for you. In this system, maybe you are good on this thing, the housewife good at this thing, but the social worker good on this thing, and the other engineer good at this thing. But somebody gonna have a place to do this. We are building a business that is open, universal, inclusive, and everybody can do it. Yes, if everybody can do it, and everybody can duplicate this thing. You have a right not to do it though. Create your peculiar way, and it's work.
As long as you persist.
There's somehow, some way, funny before. There's somebody say, you know what, I joined because of Rule 72. So the guys forever seen he teaches them that going out and talk about Rule 72, otherwise nobody's gonna join. And then the team going out and keep doing that, and some team that do Rule 72, they join. See, I told you. But he forgot that 10 other guys who talked Rule 72, nobody joined them. And then somebody else say, well, I don't believe in the Rule 72, I believe it's an X-curve. And the other guy said, see, I recruit people on X-curve. Look, I draw this one. You draw this one on the up one on blue, and they want to go down on the red. Make sure you use the right color. Do my way, and you recruit people. And people do that, and somebody joins. See, I told you. But then 9 other guys cannot, nobody join them. They never talk about it. Just like a guy go to Vegas, and he bet. Hey, see, I win. And then 10 other guys go there, one guy also win too. But they didn't talk about 9 other times the guy lost money. Several months went on day trader. You just come on sand, guys. There's million, 1,000, 100,000 people recruit because follow up. There are thousands, or tens of thousands, or 100,000 people recruited because somebody dropped by, stopped by. In fact, the majority of people will drop by, stop by. For as long as the human race exists, the eye of the person, look at the other guys, I believe in this one. I believe this business. I stopped by to invite you, to share with you. This is, for 30-something years, somebody looked at people in the eye, and that always matters. There is thousands, or tens of thousands, 100,000 people have been joining because some brochure, or somebody left some book, or some material, or somebody invite them to a workshop, or ISSA, or CPP, or anything, or OPPM, or somebody asked somebody survey card. And there's all work. Not only one way. There's 100 ways to recruit people or to share with people. But somebody has to look at the bubble chart every day to do this thing. Bubble chart every day. And then look into a circle with your teammate to make sure they're going out the field. And next thing, you look to another A circle to start up people. Have this person licensing yet? Have you met the spouse yet? Can you build without seeing the spouse? Yes, you can. Will you be able to commit without inclusive with the spouse? No. Yeah. Can you build a dick without your spouse? No. Now I'm not talking about people who single. You cannot find a spouse. Don't blame me on that. The problem
Mga
is that
single daw dyan.
when you have a spouse and you do this and your spouse do that and you do this and you go home, your spouse against you, that's the problem. And the problem is that you do the business and your wife make all the money, but she don't support you, or your husband. That send a message. Nobody believe you. Even your husband or your wife don't believe you. Nobody support you. Even your spouse don't even support you. Can you do this business without doing prospect list? Yes, plenty of you. There's some guy recruit about 5 people and just happen to have one guy become big. It happens. Can you build a big business with many legs without doing prospect list? No. Is there a guy who make $1 million without doing prospect list? Yes. But can those guys build big? No. It's just a lucky guy. Have you talked to the guy about 315 to get started? Well, but still 315 too much. Well, then tell me how low you want to go. Let's do 1-1. Oh, by the way, why do you guys still don't do 1-1? Can you do the business without a startup kit? Yes, you can. Can you build it big? No way. There's a lady yesterday talking about, oh, recruit people, but nobody buy. No, something wrong about it. How can people, you join the business and they have a need and they are not, how can they join something that they don't believe in themselves? Will your team go out field training? How can you build a business without going to a meeting? How you go through this thing with the people every morning on the bumper chart? Every day, start with number 1, go to number 2, number 3. And finally, you look into all the bumper of your team. Pay attention to the people who want you to pay attention to. The people who want to do 315. There's a lot of people pay money, get a code, but they don't want to do the business. Then, take care of them, love them, but you cannot build them until they're ready. Then work with people who do 350. You become 315. You do this thing, you become 315, and you build people 315. If a 30 day you don't build one, then you have a question. In 60 days you don't build one, something very wrong about the way you do the business. In 90 days you don't have one 315 in your team, you got to take some action. Everyone have to get licensing from the very day one, the very minute they sign up the AMA. The AMA, the $125 have to go with this one.
Licensing.
No licensing is no business.
Mm-hmm.
People don't have to pay $125 to learn about financial education. The reason people pay $125 because they want to do the business. And there's no way you hire people to do the business without asking them to submit for a license at the same time. Having people submit license on day one is the best thing. It's a real thing you do for people. Go ahead and don't do that. And show me how you build. Show me how big you are. Show me that you don't need to see this person. I know many of you don't want to do it, and many of you don't do it. Then show me how big you are. Just show me. Show me that you don't need to see this person. You don't need to get connected to this person. Show me that you don't have to do the flip chart to recruit this person. Show me that you don't need this person on your side. Show me that you don't keep constantly talking about this person and invite this person to the office event, home event, showing that you don't need this person and you will stay. How can you do the business without this one? In fact, many of you do. The problem is that right now you don't do it, or you barely do it, or you do sometimes, or you don't. Is not consistent. Many of your team don't do this thing. That's why you have struggled for a long, long time. Without a share list, there is no business. And without a very focused, the single focus and single-minded focus, the laser beam focus, and only one program exists, you're not going to build nobody. In 315 is what it needs to build someone a business. Without 315, there is no business. Without 3 recruit a month, there is very, very slim chance that someone can be built. And without a target of 15K, it's still a fantasy. Because someone have to really know that 315 is what my job is doable, and that even I'm not get there yet, but I am required to do that sooner or later, because this is where I gonna make money. And anybody who do this thing, they're gonna earn $100,000. This is something so clear. It's okay for people not to want it, but they gotta know that we have to make a stand. You want to go to work this business? We expect you to make $100,000. We expect you to do 3 recruits a month, and we expect you to do 15K with our help. Ask me anything, ask any support we provide to you, but this is our goal. There's a bunch of guys cannot even do this. And most of them don't have a team who can do it. That's why they could never build a team. Even a little thing like this, you cannot do it. Little thing. It's so little. Just like you open a college and people go to school and there are no textbook. It's a $50 issue, but most men and women cannot even do this thing. And people don't have the discipline to sit down and do the PFS. How can you build people and not do field training right away? But by the way, for those of you who have to do it on Zoom, do it on Zoom. But if you don't get people out of the field, they don't have the skill, a minimum skill of people see people eye to eye, kneecap to kneecap at people's home. They don't have that confidence to build someone. You can get the guy to MD, you get some number, but the person here never have the skill, never have a confidence to duplicate themselves. And it's impossible for you to deal with someone if they don't show up at meeting for a long, long time. Meeting is everything about the business. Without these 2 things, and the focus on the 315, it never can be done without buffer chart. And you can look at the guy right now. Look at the whole office. You can tell what's happening, and I can tell why a lot of people can never build, because I just look at the office. If the office is not showing up, if you don't show up there at 8 o'clock in the morning, pray. You just don't get what it takes, and you still can never understand it. You didn't understand it 5 years ago. You didn't understand 10 years ago you joined the business. And even though we tell you to 10 years, you still don't understand it. You didn't understand last year, and you still don't understand now, because you still cannot make it. There is no way in your team. Anybody who join your team, they won't make it because they cannot see, because they don't see you do it. How can they do something they don't see? For those big guys, whatever your action is right now is affecting your team. You know, many people future is lost. You know, next time you go to convention, go ahead and cry. I see some of you get out of convention G23 very emotional. You cry. You wish. Well, don't wish. Change. I talk with the top because I realized last time next and even today, I would be shocked if there is 10% people is doing this one. And then also I can see the people who do this one, they move to the top. I can see who is growing, who's building, and who's duplicating the habit. Because people always, no matter what you teach them, you teach people, they forgot. You create a habit, you save them. It's a habit that saves people. It's not what you teach them. And when the habit never formed because the habit never been show up, explain. Let me tell you, discipline is not an option. Discipline is part of the system. Discipline is the system. No discipline, no system. Discipline is what it takes to start with number one. You have no number one in yourself and your team, forget about it. Forget about it. You can't build. You cannot have minimum discipline to even do the bubble chart every day. You just don't know your business. So when we talk about the transaction last week, about the ACE circle, whatever, we have a whole bunch of guys who say, I want to become big, I want to do this thing. By the time we realize that, you don't even do this thing. What the heck are you talking about? And then you struggle yourself to bring through some SMD. It's just an SMD in my title. It's a glorified salesperson who have a contract with 65%. That's all it is. But the guy's never been armored, equipped on what to really do to build a business. Oh, we're over time. Oh, we still have time, right? Oh, I'm surprised. So, I asked you guys, really, how many of you here think that even more than 10% people doing this? I'd be surprised that more than 10. I think the majority do some of that, maybe 10% do it, but do it sporadic. They don't do it consistently. Because I look into but I see people who really doing this, they excel. You know, the Rhoda Azima, the Norman Galanto type of people, the people who's system driven. You see, this business is a business. It's not motivation. It's a business that is predictable. It's so predictable. So long that you don't do this one, if you are not really committed to this thing in 5 years, that's the tough part. Nothing you're gonna see gonna happen because it takes a long time for you to form your own habit, and you begin to have some people under you begin to have that habit. But the days that I have thinking, I have about 3-4 guys begin to have the habit like me, I begin to see that I'm on the roll. And I have a 10 or 20 guys who have the same habit, I'm cut for the world. That's how I build a big organization based on a lot of players that in the early day, I have total control on that. In fact, to me, I know the system pretty well because we deal with human beings. Human beings, they need to see the belief in the leadership who know how to build. People know. People, you look at a guy like me, you can tell that I'm a fake or I'm for real. Your team look at you the same way. Your team look at you and they can tell you the difference between your yak, you motivate, you tell them what to do, versus they believe deep in yourself, she believes what she can build. That's two different things. And you know what? It takes me a long time to find the kind of people who believe that I'm truly a builder and I can build people. And those people finally submit to the system for real. That, see, you submit to the system and not just, oh, I do 250. No, you just submit to the number. You submit to the system, you submit to the spirit, the system, you submit to leadership, you submit to all the intangible of the business. You should submit into a belief that you do it over and over, and you believe that no matter what, this is the right way to do, and you're not looking to other shortcuts. You're not looking around. You're not looking to some stupid guru come there and talk about this is how I do it, and you waver. You change because you already know exactly how to win. There's so many people make a fool of themselves. It's work, but it's only work up to a certain point. It never works on a large scale basis. If you want to build big, you have to work from big thinking and work backward. If I have to do this one, this big, what the behavior along the way to fit with that big picture? Not I try to do with a small way that I know and try to grow it big. It's not work that way. You have to find something that so that's why I have, by the time I introduce people about CPP, college planning, there are a lot of guys push back and say, no, I don't like that. And when I talk about ISSA, no, I don't like it. I talk about financial education, about Blue Book. No, it doesn't work. I talk about service staff. No, OBBM doesn't work for me. So a lot of pushback because they only want to eat certain food, but they never want to try other food. And they work from that standpoint instead of look at large scale because they didn't know that they're going to recruit 1,000 people a month or 5,000 people a month. And 5,000 people, then many of them going to need RSSA, then many of them going to need Social Security, Many of them are going to need authority. Many of them are going to need healthcare. That's why I talk about before Medicare supplement. That's why I talk about you got to do drop by, stop by, survey car, anything you do. The spirit, the whole thing is that see more people faster. The
You
principle never
see
changes.
more people
I don't care
faster.
Also, like faster, I don't care what you do, as long as you do it fast. Want to do a step, you see the spouse faster, or you go to people home, you give them a kid, as long as you do it fast, that's faster. That's long you see the spouse, that's long that you do prospect list, that's long that you do BFF, as long as you drop by, stop by, as long as you take people out in the field. And you do it fast. And as long as you every day look at the performance chart, you communicate with people and communicate with them. I don't care what subject you do, but you do it over and over and don't emphasize one thing gonna work. Everything gonna work because as long as you going out the field, you see more people faster. Contact many people many times. But as long as you show up early in the morning, and as long as by noontime, you already have all the people lined up throughout the field. That's what is matter. Everything else, you can talk all day long. How special way to do this or that, it doesn't work unless you can create a group of people who show up the office and work until they get the result done. Now, if you're a small guy, something work for you, don't change. Some of you, right now, use social media, and it's going to work for you. But you know that when you get to more and more people that is not like you, and you keep insisting on one way you do it, and you begin to eliminate people. Just like the guy who say, okay, you know, my market is different. I have all engineers. I have wealthy people with me. And this is the way we train. And as long as you stay small, but you stay bigger and you begin to weed out, you eliminate other people who are not part of my market. And if some of you who is a market say, oh, I'm a poor market, my market is very simple, I don't want it to be complicated, whatever. Well, as long as you stay small in that market. And if you're a bunch of guys who on Zoom and you think Zoom work for you, well, it doesn't work for me. Then you keep talking about that. You're going to keep just a handful of people who can see themselves doing Zoom like you. When you're going to realize that in the people business, you may have to make it doable and duplicatable. That word is very hard to explain to you. You know, you remember every day I work on the principle that how many thousand people in our organization or tens of thousands of people wake up every day and they say, can I do this business? And if they think that it's hard, I cannot do it, I'm losing them. I don't lose them right away, but there will be something going to hit them and I will lose it. Maybe they get sick. Maybe they offer a better job offer. Maybe somebody going to invite them for another business. Then that one is a breaking point. But as long as somebody stay with me and they say, this is easy. I know it doesn't happen for me. It's doable. And every day, the people work with me and they think it can be done. It's doable. My turn is going to come. I will get today, I'll get tomorrow. Then no matter what people offer them, they stay here. So watch out what you say. Watch out what you project to people. What I'm saying to you, this is what we work on. We are very proud for system builder because we know exactly how to win. Our system is proven, and we work on a large scale basis, and we do it so easy to the point that even a housewife or a social worker can do it. And everybody cannot fail if they stay with us If they wake up early in the morning, they can do it everything. They will get 350. They get to that 100,000, and then they're gonna build a base shop. They begin to build people, duplicate people with the same work habit. Because it's just a business. It's not a multi-level. It's not a scheme. It's not some deal that you do sometime and you're on and you off. You have an office and you don't show up. It's not. It's a real business. And I ask a lot of people, say, how real business people are doing this, it works, then you can retain them. Otherwise, you're going to have a bunch of guys, deep down, they know it doesn't work. They will do, and they know they get there because they're lucky, they will get to a certain position, and they sit there because they don't know how to do next, so they sit there and they collect override. And they tell the people, hey, let's do it. But they never people to show people exactly how to do it. So we're gonna talk. I don't have anybody count this as how many thousand times I talk about this subject. I'll cover it again and again. I will talk again and again and make sure that you don't follow it. Because you know what? I can see your number. I know you don't follow it. Because you follow it, it's going to work. It's scary. The reason you don't quit because you know the system works. The only reason you stay here because, well, when I change, when I get less lazy, I'll make it. And we've been waiting. You've been waiting for yourself for a long, long time. That's why you don't quit. Because you deep down, you know this thing doesn't work, you quit long time already. So, let's wait, okay? Thank you, guys.
All right.
Excellent. Love the system discipline. So thank you.
Ate Wang, are you back? Are you still in Canada?
Right. Next week is going to be amazing. Let's follow 315. Follow the 4 daily habits. That is the
Ngayon ang balik
secret
niya.
of coach. So